Hi guys, this is Maria Park, and I'm here with my friend at Joe Geek Show, who does awesome comic reviews. Subscribe if you have not. And today we are talking about a lot of stuff that's going on because 2020, guys, is a crazy, crazy year. So the first thing we're going to talk about is Stargirl leaving DC Universe and going exclusively to the CW. And if we think that is a mistake, I'm going to let you go first, Joe. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, first thing when I heard that CW was going to be the exclusive holder to Stargirl, moving over from the DC Universe app, because I mean, in recent months and stuff like that, the DC Universe apps has basically been disseminating all the shows anyway, sending them over to HBO Max, or you got the Harley Quinn, which went over to the Sci-Fi Channel. So yeah, I mean, and then naturally CW was going to get something. It got Stargirl, and immediately I was not on board with it. I mean, because like I had said in my episode 1 review that one of the strengths to the show more than likely was the fact that it was not a CW produced show. I mean, yeah, you still had Greg Berlanti on board, but the show for the most part was overseen by Jeff Johns, the man who created the character in the first place. And I felt like, especially what we've seen so far, that the show has done a very good job, in representing the character he created and stuff like that. And also, like, the production value on the show is obviously a lot higher than your typical CW show. And so, right away, that's one of the things we are most likely going to see once it becomes a full-on CW production, is we're going to see a dip in quality on several different levels. I mean, for one thing, just from the actor's perspective, the CW does they do all their filming in Vancouver. And right away, how many cast members are going to move to Vancouver to shoot the show? Part of me believes that, you have actors like Amy Smart and Luke Wilson that most likely will not make that transition. They could, but I don't know. I'm a little skeptical in that department. And was attention, your CW is going to drive that.
You're a hater. The CW is going to drive that show straight into the ground. It's on the wreckage. I can't argue with that. I
can't either. So I mean, just to start with the actors from their perspective, I don't know how many are going to go to Vancouver. Secondly, yes, you have the production quality of the show, and typically CW shows are on the cheap. They are done at the lowest quality possible. I mean, we've seen this in Legends of Tomorrow, like, for example, with the Atom and his Atom suit. I mean, you could probably count on one hand how many times he's used that suit over the entire series that it's been out. And so one thing we know that's mostly going to happen, we're probably going to lose Stripe. The robot, Luke Wilson's robot, we're probably going to lose.
Oh my gosh, that'd be so stupid if we have Stripe removed. That will irritate. Yeah,
most likely what'll happen is we'll probably have the model standing in the background at the garage, and it'll just be like, they'll probably do something with, like, maybe in the first couple episodes, Stripe is decommissioned. It's going to take a long time to rebuild, and then we'll probably pack up, pop back up again at the end of a season and stuff like that. And so right there, I'm not on board with that. As far as the writing goes, I mean, there's a lot to be said when it comes to CW writing. I mean, I always preface it that, the first 2 seasons of The Flash and the first 2 seasons of Arrow were extremely strong presentations, story-wise, at least for a CW production. But after that, the writing just took a huge dip in quality, and I don't think we've ever had a show or season that's reached those same heights again as those first 2 Flashes and Arrows. And as for Stargirl, there are some, there are definitely some things I think could be improved upon, but for the most part, it is stronger than your average.
Really solid for a DC show, yeah. Well, no, I agree with everything you're saying, but remember Supergirl when it was on CBS? They had a higher budget. Now, let me answer this question. Aggressively Relaxed and said, what's with the bizarre CW hate? We do not hate the CW. We are calling the CW out because the CW, they cut costs. And to save money, they hire multiple writers that aren't really giving the kind of like flow of the series. So the continuity is kind of lacking a little bit. So you have to understand that you can get a very good episode in the Arrowverse show, and then 2-3 episodes after that are just complete garbage. It's almost like watching your favorite anime and it's just filler. So it's just hard. So with Stargirl, our concern is because it's going exclusively to the CW, you're not getting DC Universe's budget. You're not getting their graphics. You're not getting the choreography. You're not getting the costumes that we're getting accustomed to. They're going to make this show as cheaply as possible because there are so many of them. So that is pretty much the issue that I have personally with the CW. Is they're going to cut costs, and it's what they do with all of their shows. So Stargirl has so much potential. I think I want to say we're on episode 8 now, right? Isn't episode 8 coming out?
Episode 8 came out on Wednesday on the CW app for me.
Okay, so because I don't have the app because I'm cheap. But
I watch it for free on the internet the next day.
But no, I'm like, it's very hard because you want these shows to do well. Like, look at Black Lightning. Black Lightning is now in the Arrowverse, but they film in Atlanta. I don't know if they're going to be forced to move to Vancouver next season or not, but they specifically film everything in Georgia. So it's a different show, a different universe, and you can see it in the production value, the quality, like all of it. Like, to me, Freeland looks like what Gotham should look like. Gotham should be dark and dirty like Freeland, and it's not. Gotham has extremely clean streets. I think I even had I watched a review where they were talking something similar, where they were like, Gotham is very well kept for an abandoned city, pretty much, where businesses are run down and real estate is run down. So yeah, I just think it's a quality problem. I really do. I think it's a quality problem. But it could go really well. I mean, we don't know. This actually, let's move. They could keep their own team because Stargirl is Jeff Johns' baby, because Stargirl was actually inspired by his sister who died. I think it was either in a plane crash or a car crash. I can't remember. It's been a minute.
It was a plane crash.
Yeah. So he created Courtney based on that. So let's see. You should make a video proving these points. You guys just dismiss all these great episodes on a ton of shows as trash. I don't think we said that.
No, we definitely did not say that.
I'm not sure what you're hearing, but that did not come out of my mouth. I said that they have good episodes and then they follow with filler-like episodes. I guess filler-like episodes or trash could be the same thing. It's basically something that does nothing to contribute to the rest of the story. But that's just our opinion. And so if that offends you, I apologize. But I mean, it's just how I feel. I feel like there could be a lot they could be doing, and they're not. And that is overall. And that's not just with the Arrowverse. That's with a lot of their shows. A lot of their shows have really dipped, over the few years. So, yeah. But yeah, so what else do you think could possibly make the transition to the CW from Stargirl a better experience for all of us fans who love the property?
Well, I mean, are you talking about like maybe what I would do if I was in charge of it, or? Well, I mean, first off, I would want to keep Jeff Johns. I mean, it's like who knows the character better than the guy that created him, that created her, and stuff like that. And so, Jeff Johns, I feel like, has definitely been a pivotal role. It really does feel more like his baby than Greg Berlanti's. And so, definitely keeping him on would, I think help. He could at least keep writers on track to a degree, because because we know that writers on the CW, they do like to trail off a lot, because they do got to hit those filler episodes too. That's probably be my biggest thing is, do what you can, keep Jeff Johns on. And heck, even because Jeff Johns is attached to it, give him a decent budget to work with as well in terms of production, because there's I don't think there's anything more jarring than seeing a well-produced show move to another network, get its budget slashed in half, and everything just dips after that. Like you said, Supergirl, that was a perfect example of being on a big budget network and then moving to the CW, and suddenly, we're getting less of everything, essentially, in terms of effects and, even the actor who plays Hank Henshaw, aka Martian Manhunter, we started seeing him less in his form after he came out in in season 1 of Supergirl. So I mean, those are just some things I would start with. How about you?
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I love that you mentioned Martian Manhunter. He's close to my heart.
Martian Manhunter forever.
Forever. CG is so expensive. It is so expensive. And if you do not have a budget for that, which is why, I mean, you got to give CW props for taking on all of these series, like the Flash in general. Yeah, somebody joked that they're using one extended, like Flash effect from like Adobe, but I don't know how they continuously have so many characters. Well, I guess it kind of helps that Cisco no longer has its powers, so they don't have to do that anymore. Because that they said for Cisco's powers, it costs more than most of the show to whenever he would open portals. So I can see that. I could see that being a problem. And so that's what I worry about with Stargirl. They're building a new JSA, which technically should be the Infinity. Well, I'm not going to go down that road. But they're building a new JSA. And all of them now you're not going to have powers with Dr. Midnight. Technically, you will with the goggles. You're all going to have that, projection power, where she's able to make everything holograms and things like that. You are going to have that. You're not really going to have a lot with Wildcat, maybe a few sparks or stuff when she hits things. Our Man's super strong. But if they ever incorporate, any of the other characters, like Jakeem, using the Thunderbolt, that's going to be a mess. I don't know how they'll afford to do fix for that. If they have a Green Lantern come in, because it is another world. This is Earth 2, not Prime Earth. So they really can do that. It obviously won't be Diggle because he's on Prime Earth, but they could have another version of the Green Lantern. They've actually shown us the Green Lantern, saying that basically it's pretty useless without the ring, insinuating that maybe somebody out there has the ring. Where's the ring? There's so many things and so many characters that would be interesting to see. The only major power ones we have right now besides Stripe would be Icicle, because Icicle freezes people on the daily, and Courtney's staff. And I mean, it's just once they start really heavy hitting, getting into some of the other villains and adding on more members later on, I don't know how they're going to do it or how they're going to afford to do that. So that is my concern.
Yeah, I definitely share a lot of those concerns for sure too.
Let's see. So maybe the CW shouldn't be taking on all these properties and just focus on. Sorry, it went up too fast. Focus on the select few to maintain quality. I agree with that. I do. I think they're being ambitious because comic books are selling. The MCU is dominating movies. Right now, DC only has television. I mean, it's just true. So they're trying to be the MCU of TV. And I mean, I get it. Nobody wants to have their property left behind and they want to get on the cash value too. It's just they don't have the budget for it. And that is the problem. Now, my saving grace is if Jeff Johns is still in charge, I know he will fight for this because that is his. He created that character. It's personal to him. I think he will fight for that. So, but outside of that, I don't know. I'm a little worried, guys. I am worried.
Yeah, and what we were saying with the shows and stuff like that, maybe the CW could at this point even look to maybe letting some of the other shows go, the ones that don't, get quite as many viewers and stuff like that.
Which one would you let go? A lot of people say Legends, but I mean, Legends is campy. So I don't know.
I mean, Legends is campy, but I'll be honest, I have no real personal attachment to Legends. I mean, I kind of after the first 3 seasons, I sort of checked out of that show. But I mean, just from a perspective of just, fan reception and audience scores and stuff like that. I mean, even though it's going to be a subject later in today's video, I probably let shows like Batwoman go because that did not do well in its first season. I would probably let Legends go. I think The Flash, even though it usually still brings in kind of an audience, I would maybe start to look at potentially thinking about closing that one out because it's been on the air for such a long time already. And I mean, they burned through some of his, relatively bigger stories. Because I definitely do think a lot of what made Arrow and Flash good in the first place was the fact that they only had to focus on 2 shows. So maybe even take it down to just 2 shows at a time. I'm not,
Yeah. Well, I like some of the comments here. I'm going to go to one though. I'm going to go ahead and answer because I don't want anyone to feel like I'm ignoring them. So Candace, I have been reading you. I'm not calling you out and I am not ignoring you. So I know that you are very upset about Hartley. His last name was Sawyer. I know it's Sawyer. My brain is gone. When you hit 43, it just goes away. About our elongated man, Ralph, being dismissed because of comments that he made 8 years ago. So I am seeing that you would like to have Great Grant Gustin removed. And the cast of Stargirl better watch out. They might have their past dug up and be first for no reason. So I do know that you're angry. I've already answered this. I see people think that I am not taking an opinion on this, or I don't have an opinion. It's not that. I don't work on that set. And something about me, I have a comm degree and I have a film degree. And with my film degree, I got to intern on a lot of sets. So I know that a lot happens. And I also do voiceovers. And I know in the anime industry, in the video game industry, there's a lot that happens behind closed doors that the public is not privy to. So the reason that I'm saying is I don't know what actually happens, because it basically is I have no idea what actually happened. I don't work for the CW. I am not on the set of The Flash. So I can't say, well, this is what he did and he's fired and how dare they? That was 8 years ago. And yes, what he said was effed up, because I'm sorry, those comments that I read, they were effed up. Whether you were joking or not, they were effed up. I don't know what else happened. Was it just for that incident? Do I believe people can change? Maybe he should have gotten a slap on the wrist, or maybe even had to do like PSAs for the rest of his career on not saying crap like that. I mean, yeah, probably. But did something else happen on that set? And we don't know about it because they're not saying anything. And that's why I can't say 100% either or. I just can't, because I don't know. And I always it always annoys me when people condemn people or don't condemn people and they don't have all the facts, because that's pretty much what our internet is today. Everybody takes a stance and they don't know everything. So just like us talking about the CW, we are speculating, which is why I said maybe they will prove us wrong. I don't know. So yeah. I just have to throw that out there. It's not that I'm not answering you, Candace, and I appreciate that you are here, and I'm appreciating that you're putting your opinion out here, because I want everyone to feel confident in doing that. I just don't want you to feel like I'm being wishy-washy. I just can't make an informed decision because I don't have all the facts, and that's just what it is. So let me see. Yito said, I can understand why there's hate towards Legends, though. Not many big name heroes who are part of the cast. I love Legends because it's campy and they have John Constantine. And I love Constantine.
Yeah, but I would personally be in favor of Constantine just getting his show back in general. Matt Ryan, like that man, I'm sorry, he was born to play.
I really think Matt Ryan is Constantine. I don't think he's Matt Ryan. I really do. I'm scared for Black Lightning and Stargirl because we all know how awful the writing and the budget of the shows prior will affect them, given how things have been going the several seasons. Yeah, I can see that. Unfortunately, that's going to be the same for most things. It's just what it is. I don't know what's going on at CW, and it's not just Arrowverse. I like Roswell. I've read the books in high school. We've even talked about this in the live stream. Season 2 of Roswell was very strange for me, and honestly, the quality dipped and the plot was all over the place, and I have no idea. what
yeah, well, I think a lot of that also has to do with like when a show first starts, you want to put your best foot forward, and oftentimes, tell their best story within that first season because they want people to come back. And then from there, it's like, okay, we got their attention. Now, how do we keep it?
Yeah. How do we keep it? Yeah. And that's always challenging. And like I said, we're not trying to downplay people's writing skills. Writing is hard. It's hard.
Oh, absolutely.
The problem is that whenever you have a series, especially a series that's doing well, that's already been renewed for another season, you want to keep that winning streak going. You don't just say, hey, can you come in here and write for this episode? Oh, I know you've never read this comic book or probably even seen this show, but can you write this script? And that's what Hollywood does. It is literally a conveyor belt. So it dips in quality because you don't have people that are passionate writing on it. Think about your favorite comics that you read. What if they just had somebody who wrote, not fan fiction, because fan fiction writers, actually, there's some pretty damn good ones out there, but just say somebody who wrote like for a home gardening magazine got pulled in and said, we need somebody to write this issue of Batman. It's the same logic, because that person probably has no clue who Batman even is. And they're going by what they think they know, maybe a previous copy they wrote, and they just pump out a story. And you're just like, what is this? That is how I feel on some of these stuff we've been getting from the CW. And,
oh yeah.
I mean,
well, I mean, even from the writer's perspective too in Hollywood, I mean, not only do you have non-passionate people generally that write the scripts, but then you also have the producers coming in saying, hey, you have to hit these story points no matter what. And, or even if they say, hey, we want you to write a script with this, with this exact story, they deliver that exact story. And then those same producers or execs will just be like, oh, we changed our mind. We're completely rewriting everything now. I mean, I always hear that things change at the drop of a hat,
Yeah, the editing, the deadlines. I know it's probably a lot of stress in the writer's room. I don't envy them at all. I really don't. And then you have to get on the showrunner because they're the ones that have final approval between the producers and the writers. So, it's crazy. It's all crazy. But let's talk about our next thing because we're going to dwell on Stargirl too much. So let's talk about the brand new Batwoman, Javicia Leslie, who's already getting a lot of controversial crap, but not because she's black, because she's not gay enough. And this is my response. I don't know. Just like I even had somebody comment that on my video when it was first announced and I did a video on it. Somebody said she's bisexual. She's not gay enough to be Batwoman. All right, so let's stop right here. I'm not even going to be political. I'm just gonna talk about Ryan Wilder. I think her name is.
Yep.
She does not exist in DC canon. She is a made-up character. So this character could have been written as bisexual. So how are you going to say that a character that has had no screen time, nothing on print, is not gay enough when you know nothing about her? Oh, Lord.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely very interesting to see people's reactions and stuff like that, and I mean certainly on YouTube and stuff. Yeah, I mean we're seeing so many videos with so many different opinions and stuff like that. And even the media gets in on it too. They make up those headlines. It's like black bisexual is the new Batwoman and all this and that. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, personally, like I said, Batwoman wasn't something that impressed me with its first season. And, I've never seen Javicia?
No, you mean her name, the actress's name?
Yeah.
Her name is Javicia Leslie. Yeah.
Javicia, yeah.
She actually has a YouTube channel. I found her YouTube channel and I actually said that in my review. I was like really surprised, but I guess that makes sense. And she actually posted a video 8 years ago about moving to LA. So I thought it was impressive that she's going to be headlining a CW show. And she's only been in LA for 8 years. And I think the only thing I know her from is God Friended Me, but I didn't really watch that series a lot. So
yeah, I was gonna say, like, I know she was in that show. I honestly never seen it. I don't know her acting range whatsoever. I'll probably YouTube it her maybe a little bit later, some clips from the show. But I mean, ultimately, despite what despite what people are saying, despite my lack of interest in the first season of Batwoman as a whole, I feel like this could potentially be something extremely interesting because one, you have a character that you have no idea how she's going to turn out because she's not in any comic books, like you said, and we've seen that happen before in TV, albeit animated, like with characters like Harley Quinn, who was not a comic book character prior to. And, this could definitely be a potentially interesting venture because, I mean, this could make or break an entire new character in comics later down the road, too. And I will say the intrigue factor is definitely there where I will for sure watch that first episode just to see how it turns out and then kind of base my decisions off that. Like, one thing I'm hoping is that, when it comes to, especially the writing aspect, like, for example, one of the things about Batwoman that I just really hated time and time again was when she would let, villains go. And I'm hoping that they write this, Ryan as a character that does not do that, and really take this opportunity to kind of like tighten up the show, strengthen up the show, with good character moments and stuff like that. I feel like we only touched the tip of the iceberg when it came to characters like Luke Fox, and stuff like that. I think the character like Mary, for example, who's probably been one of the more favorited. I'm from what I've heard.
Some people like her. Some people think she's like a prima donna and whiny. So it just depends.
Yeah, but I think as a whole, like she has an opportunity to like kind of get away from the whole, stepsister angle and kind of come into her own as character, as like maybe the team medical person. And there's just so many ideas that I have in my head about what the show could be from here on out, and the directions they could be going. And and I gotta say, yeah, it's very intriguing to see what they do with it, and I do want to know the explanation they're going to give for Kate Kane's departure as well. So that should also
how are
be
they going to incorporate Ryan too in the other characters' lives? Like Justin just asked the question. I promise we're going to get to questions. Do you think that will make the new Batwoman come from another Earth? I don't know. I mean, as far as I know, Crisis is over, so there shouldn't be any more people shifting from different Earths. But it is. Yeah, man, I don't know. It's like Doctor Who is notorious for plot holes. I just feel like that everybody.
Yeah. Well, it's very interesting. Well, it's very interesting too, just because even though Crisis already happened, and we see everything's on one Earth. At the very end of Crisis, they still showed some of the other Earths. So I think they're still out there. It's just nobody knows about it now. Like they, the main CW Prime universe, thinks that it's all one Earth now.
Nicholas, you said you think that Flamebird. Wait, and now that I'm thinking about Mary Elizabeth Kane, she was supposed to be Flamebird, Hawkfire. So what is that going to happen with her, Alice? I don't know. I mean, honestly, and I know who Flamebird is. She's actually, I believe she's Kathy Kane's daughter. A lot of people don't realize that Kate Kane is not the original Batwoman. It's actually Kathy Kane. And she was created back in the 1950s. So we got, I think, Kate Kane around 2004, 2006. She was reinvented. It was kind of like a reinvention. Then they retconned that. And then she was just a completely different character. But Kathy Kane had a daughter, I believe. Is a daughter, a granddaughter, or a niece or something like that, who ends up being the Robin to Kate Kane in the comics. I don't know what they're going to do with that. I don't know what they're going to do with the characters we have now. I mean, Sophie to me is a conundrum because in the actual Batwoman comic series, they weren't really a thing that long. She was actually Renee Montoya and Maggie Sawyer longer than she was with, Sophie. So I don't really know what they're going to do with that, like how they're going to incorporate that in this universe. And also to me, Ryan has no stake in the game with Alice. That's not her twin. That's not her family member. She has no reason to help her. She has no reason to try and save her soul. She's just another villain. It's just like somebody else take it out. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with that. It's going to be very strange. It's going to be very, very strange.
Definitely. Like I said, I think the intrigue factor is what I'm finding more interesting than the news itself of the new actress.
Yeah. I think, and I just want to know how they're going to write her in. And wasn't she living in her car or a trailer or something? And her only friend was a houseplant. I mean, she sounds sad, really.
Yeah. I mean, we know she's going to be an ex-drug runner. So
yeah, she's an ex-drug runner. And see, somebody thought maybe she was connected to Luke. Somebody posted that on my video. Maybe it was Luke's half sister or and I guess I can just add in cousin. And that's why that Luke would give her the bat suit. Because you saw how protective he was originally when Kate was looking at the bat suit. So it's going to be hard for me to believe that Luke's going to be like, hey, you should put this on. We know where Kate is. So, and then why did Kate disappear without the bat suit? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just so
questions. So many questions.
So many questions. But let's see. I know the multiverse still exists, but why make it more complicated? Because the multiverse and because comics. That's why. That is the overall explanation. Because comics.
Yeah, comics. No. Every so often, whether we like it or not, DC hits that hard reset button.
Yeah, Nicholas, I think the Wonder Twins may be a part. See, they're not doing Infinity Inc. See, I didn't want to say it. They're doing JSA Juniors because everyone knows that Beth and Yolanda and Rick were actually adults when they got their powers, and they were part of the JSA. They actually were part of the JSA with some of the original JSA members. This is a complete reinvention, so I have no idea. They de-aged all of them. I'm more curious if they're going to make Beth blind, because Beth loses her sight. When she was at work, she was a doctor, an oxygen tank blew up, and she was trying to save a patient, and she lost her eyesight, and then she became Dr. Midnight. So I don't know if they're going to keep that or not, like have some accident later on in the season or next season where she loses her eyesight and the goggles are literally her eyes. I think she had the ability to see at night, but I don't know. I don't know if they're going to incorporate any of the stuff that we're used to in comics, because they don't have to. This is another universe. It is a multiverse. This is CW's version of the DC comics. So I don't know. That's a good question, though. But I do know they had the Wonder Twins. They have references to a lot of references to the Wonder Twins and JSA throughout all of Crisis on Infinite Poop. So, All right. We'll get to our questions in a second. Let's see what our next story is. The next one's just basically an announcement. I've never read this, but once I heard it was coming out, and I know my friend Blurb Without Fear has all of these, and I went and bought the hardcover deluxe Paper Girls, because the Paper Girls comic is being picked up by Amazon Studios. And so I heard somebody jokingly saying that this is kind of like Stranger Things, but for all girls. So now I'm completely involved or in. But also that right now, I think the deluxe copy hardcover volumes 1 and 2 are like $22, like $95 each. And then when this show comes out, they're probably going to go up to like $60 or $70. So yeah, I just went and bought them. So my PSA is, if you have not read Paper Girls before the show starts on Amazon and you have Amazon Prime, please watch it or read it, because I think that you're going to love this show, because everyone I've talked to has told me I have to read this. So, and more than likely I would want it. So just wanted to throw that out there. And then if you're into horror movies, because we like to be all round on the nerd shows, Halloween Kills was delayed. Movie this year. Yeah, we already knew that was going to happen. And what's the sequel? You remember what the sequel to Halloween was called? Like Forever Purge or something like that?
I don't remember what the next one after that was going to be called. All I know is they're now coming out 2021 and then the next year after in 2022. So at least we
where's Is New Mutants going to be a thing? Like, are we going to get New Mutants this year?
New Mutants is what? Hold on a second.
His co-host is having issues. Well, I'll discuss this question. So New Mutants, from what I can tell from the trailer, is absolutely doing the Fear Bear storyline from Danielle Moonstone. I think I really want to say it's a whole New Mutants saga, only doing their own little twist on it, because I don't remember Danielle and Ronnie or Wolfsbane being a couple, but I knew that they were linked. So I know they changed a lot of the plot on that, but it looks really good. It actually looks very, very good to me. So I want to know, are we going to get this movie this year? I don't know. I don't know. I honestly don't know. But I really want to see it. So this is probably besides Wonder Woman, because who doesn't love Wonder Woman? New Mutants is the movie I am 1,000,000,000% anticipating to have seen this year. I'm so excited about it. And now I'm just like, I don't know. So what he said, New Mutants just needs to go to streaming already. They did it with Artemis Fowl, just released My Mutants Down as Disney. I'm ready to see it. Yeah. So much money if they did that. I would buy it. I'd buy it. I would literally buy it just to see it. More superhero horror movies. I know I read today that DC is releasing 2 comic books. One is, I think, is with Swamp Thing, and one is with Batman and Wonder Woman and various others. They're going to come out in October, and they're all Halloween themed. So that should be interesting. If I find that, I'll link it. And when this video posts, I will link it below. But yeah, the Halloween themed DC comics are coming this year for certain. They've already, I think it's like the 13th, the 9th and the 13th or something like that, October. I want to see Demon Bear. You are right. I'm telling you, that was one of my favorite New Mutant storylines. I want to see it. Okay, so let's talk about other news. Remember a little movie called and a book series called Ready Player One? Well, Ready Player 2, the book is now up for pre-order on Valentine Books. So if you're into the books and you like the movie, you can order it now. It's coming out on November 24th. So I just wanted to throw that in there. Trying to get you all the news, guys. So this one, I know hurt a lot of people. The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina on Netflix was canceled. Yeah, I think the internet died. Like, I saw so many. They were so upset. I don't actually know if they're going to save this show. Somebody even said they were trying to move it to another platform. I haven't heard anything about that. That, or they're trying to make like an animated or live action series based on some of the graphic novels, which is kind of what I thought Netflix was doing. But I don't know. But so far, I haven't seen any petitions to save Sabrina. That does not mean it's not coming. But I know that just within like the first 45 minutes that they announced that on the boards, there were like 300 people saying, "I hate Netflix. I'm canceling my subscription." And I'm like, you should cancel everything. I don't know why you're unhappy.
Well, I mean, it's also a Greg Berlanti production, so coming soon to the CW.
Could be. I would not. Well, I don't know though. The stuff they do in Sabrina,
I know it's pretty heavy-handed with the satanic stuff.
I get away with that. But no, I really feel like it's not. We have a cancellation culture problem, but I just feel like companies are just not wanting to invest the money. Like Netflix is notorious for this, though. I don't care. Sci-Fi does this. A few others. Sci-Fi and Netflix are my two examples because Sci-Fi will literally have a winning show. And they'll be like, meh, I don't want to do it anymore. Like Warehouse 13, Eureka, both really good shows canceled in the prime Stargate universe, which I'm still not getting over. I mean, there's so many series that Sci-Fi has just axed that were really popular and had really good ratings that I'm used to it. If I see something for a season, I'm pretty surprised if it has a second one on Sci-Fi, except for Winona Earp. I'm an Earper. I'm excited about it coming back July 26th. But like that's about it. So she just wants to be involved. We're gonna let her do her thing.
Yeah, no, guy's not allowed to sit in his beanbag chair. That's really
it is what it is. Let's see here. I'm trying to make sure I get all the news out. Oh, Vagrant Queen, which was a series by Magdalene Visaggio. She wrote a comic book series. Somebody told me it only sold 70 to 75 copies, so it didn't do really well. So it was very interesting that they decided to make a TV show. The first few episodes I saw were very slow, and I love space drama. I love so many genres, but one of my biggest ones, I love anything with space pirates, space scavengers, that's why I love The Expanse, things like that. So I love Killjoys on Sci-Fi. So this show, I was super, super excited. I do agree that there was a lot of problems with the episodes continuity wise, but I don't think it was not worth giving it a second season to see if it improved more, because episodes weren't that bad. So there is a petition going online to save this show, which is funny because still haven't come from Sabrina yet. So that's very interesting. But on top of that, Magdalene Visaggio, I think I talked to you about this the other day, Joe. Accuses Sean Gordon Murphy of love bombing. And I had to look up what love bombing was. And that's basically showering somebody with affection and basically talking them up to basically get them to defend you in situations where you're messing up and be your ally and get away with crap, basically. And she basically called him out on social media. And a lot of DC male writers have started to do kind of a Me Too type scenario, but for women. And they're signing this thing saying, I will not, treat women like this, a whole list of stuff. So I don't know what's going on at DC, guys. I don't know. I mean, after the whole thing back with Warren Ellis, which if you're not familiar with that, Warren Ellis is actually being accused of like basically seducing women and using his power to intimidate people into sleeping with him. That's speculation. That's just what people are saying is happening. I don't work at DC Comics, so I'm just telling you what's going around. But yeah, that's two very, very big writers at DC Comics that are, as far as I can tell, no longer at DC Comics. So,
I know Warren Ellis. He's pretty much canned. With Sean Gordon Murphy, from what I've been reading and understanding, he hasn't been fired or let go as of right now. Because one of the things about Sean Gordon Murphy is like, I mean, he's built up a really good rapport over at DC Comics as, you know, just being an overall stand-up, wholesome guy, you know. And then of course, when you read Magdalene Passaggio's tweets and stuff like that, you know, you do have to highlight and note things like, you know, he never actually he never touched me or anything like that. Like, you know, pretty much from the entire thing, it's one takeaway is he was like, even if like, I mean, 'cause, like the whole thing with love bombing and just what I've been able to find and been able to read, like you said, you know, talking people up, this and that. So, you know, from the sounds of it, in that kind of angle, it's, you know, all in the area of, you know, being polite. Maybe he was offering a lot of compliments and stuff like that, you know, and you know, and that is the biggest thing with things like this is sometimes, you know, things can be misread, misunderstood, misinterpreted by people. And, you know, of course, like you said, because we weren't actually there or witnessed any of it, it's very, very tough. I mean, you know, Sean Gordon Murphy, like I said, at least from what I've seen, I actually would have had friends that have met him at Comic-Cons and stuff like that. And they always say, you know, he's a stand-up, just really awesome guy. You know, he is married and stuff like that. So it's, you know, it's definitely one of those things where when you look into it, you do got to go into it with the utmost care. Because, you know, you don't want to really shift things too hard in one direction or the other in order to stay neutral, aka being objective with it. And, you know, the whole thing with Warren Ellis, I mean, again, I don't know if he admitted. I don't know if he actually admitted to anything.
I think he just released a statement saying he didn't realize he hurt people. You know, he thought that because, you know, he's famous, that people didn't think that they would take him seriously. Something along those lines. I don't have to find the exact wording. So he's not really admitting to it, but he did put out that kind of apology. And like I said, we don't know. We are not there. But I've lived by this logic my entire life. People thought the Son of Sam and Ted Bundy were upstanding people, and they had a personality. They were doing some horrible things. So I mean, you never know.
Yeah, most of the time it's just kind of like, you know, I like to hang back and see, you know, what comes out in terms of facts and what can be proven.
Yeah, because we just don't know. But I just thought that was interesting that DC seems to be going through a lot of stuff, a lot of changes. Okay. So this is just something I saw on Bleeding Cool. They're talking about 5G. So if you don't know what 5G is, it's DC Comics has been speculating. A lot of the nerd boards for like probably over a year, maybe longer, have been speculating the 5th generation of DC superheroes. That's why initially when Batman came out, everyone thought that you know, they were going to have a brand new Batman who was going to be Asian or Hispanic or Black, or even, you know, Luke Fox, and, you know. He's currently Batwing in the comic. He's definitely not in the CW universe. Well, what I thought was interesting is one of the things that people are saying is that Jonathan Kent, Clark Kent and Lois's son, is going to be the new Superman. So they're going to age Clark, and that Jonathan Kent is pretty much using like Smallville as his like headquarters, like his Fortress of Solitude, basically. And that his dad decides for some odd reason to just expose his identity, which in turn exposes Jonathan Kent's identity, being that he's the current Superman, forcing Jonathan to put all of Metropolis in a bottle like Candor. And I'm just trying to figure out why. I'm like, where are they going with this? You know, where are they going with Metropolis? I don't know how I feel about that. That's a story that I don't know.
Yeah, I hadn't heard about John putting Metropolis in a, you know, in like a Candor like bottle or anything like that. I mean, because like pretty much, what we know with John right now is like, I mean, he's already been aged up. He's on the Legion of Superheroes currently. Superman, aka Clark Kent, revealed his identity in the Truth storyline, which was the dumbest fucking idea. There's an entire book called Identity Crisis that tells you why secret identities are a good idea.
Yeah. Trust me, throughout the history of comics, it tells you why it's a good idea. But
yeah.
I don't know why. Like, it doesn't even make sense canonly why Clark would just be like, after all this time, by the way, I'm Superman.
Yeah,
Especially if it would affect his own son. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand that.
I believe what Bendis was going for, like, because when he was developing, the Truth storyline, and he was doing that, like, because he pretty much said that in the Legion of Superhero storyline that, John Kent is going to become the one true Superman. That there was no secret there, and I believe the idea, even though we didn't really see it come to any kind of fruition, I mean, within the pages of Action Comics or Superman during that entire Truth storyline, was that I guess the idea was that Clark was trying to kind of help prep the world for this new future kind of deal, where John Kent would be Superman and stuff like that. It's just kind of like, let's get all the lies out there, kind of thing.
But it just seems so strange, if what they're saying is true about, Metropolis being the new Candor, basically. I'm not connecting it. Like, how is it going to connect with all of the other characters in the series?
Yeah.
Is John Kent going to be in Metropolis, or is he going to have it? Like, how Superman had Candor. It's just
I mean, it's one of those things we really don't know. I mean, of course, right now in terms of setup and stuff like that, that's one of the biggest differences between what's on paper and then the execution of the idea itself. And I mean, even as a whole, like 5G as we know it is probably not going to be what it was before anyway, because one of the big driving factors behind 5G, of course, was Dan Didio. And, a few months back, Dan Didio was let go from his position, as editor-in-chief over DC. And pretty much with that really went, that version of 5G as a whole. Because, now you have the story Dark Knight's Death Metal by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo going on. And that is the one that's going to, at the very end, set up the new status quo for the DC Universe going forward. And, and there's rumors and speculations that, 5G is no longer going to be, because originally what I believe was pitched, I'd have to try to find the article again. So, of course, and I believe it was also a rumor, so take it with a grain of salt. It was that after the big storyline with Wally West on the Mobius chair, there was going to be an adventure there that was going to set 5G into motion, and then 5G in terms of the single floppies was going to be things like Luke Fox is the new Batman, John Kent is Superman, what was it? Captain Boomerang's son is the new Flash. And then if you wanted the whole status quo stories, aka, Clark Kent, Superman, Bruce Wayne, Batman, and Barry Allen and or Wally West Flash, they were going to do, these 100-page prestige format books for either like $7 or $10 that you could buy if you wanted those instead. But now, when it comes to the whole speculation train, seemingly especially after Dan Didio, was let go and stuff like that, that 5G may just end up being sort of like a small, like maybe 6-issue mini event to give you an idea of what the future of the DC Universe could look like, not what it's necessarily going to be. And then, of course, the status quo of, Bruce Wayne, Batman, and so on is going to continue forward as normal, just implemented with the changes that we're going to be seeing within the pages of Dark Knight's Death Metal.
Right. Well, I mean, and if they did Dark Metal or even the Batman Who Laughs, which they will not do, because I know they won't, especially in the live action form, write another comic tying into a potential for a live action movie would be amazing to me. I don't know how they would pull that off, but it would be amazing to me. But yeah, this 5G is just interesting. Everything I'm learning, and they always have a different theory. If you go to websites like Bleeding Cool, they will literally tell you all of these theories on what they think is going to happen with the next gen. Just like I had a big talk with my friend Brad about. He thinks it's interesting about legendary characters and how people don't like legendary characters, but they don't really know who legendary characters are. Like how Barry Allen is considered a legendary character. Like there's so many that we can just really roll down the list.
Barry Allen's a legend in his own right, but obviously, of course,
but he's not. Jay Garrick is considered the original. Yeah, so like he is not. Barry Allen is no scope of imagination the original Flash. So. It's like when you think about that, it's interesting. It's very, very interesting. But I think that's probably because we have a generation that grew up watching season 1 of The Flash, seeing Barry Allen become the Flash, and then realizing there were other worlds with different Flashes. But for them, because he's on, I guess it was Earth 1, now Prime Earth, that is essentially to them the original Flash. And, of course, the story does nothing to tell them that, anything different. So there was not a Jay Garrick for them in his universe. So, but if you read the comics, you know that that's not true. So it's very interesting. I don't know, but we're going to talk about Batman in a minute too. So I'm gonna let you finish your statement because you got to talk about Batman.
Well, all I was going to say was, I mean, it really doesn't matter. Jay Garrick, Barry Allen, we all know that Gingerhead Wally West is the best Flash anyway.
I mean, we'll debate that later. But so what do you think about Michael Keaton potentially being in Flashpoint and then potentially, in my mind anyway, should happen, doing a Batman Beyond movie?
I mean, personally, I've already, I did a Batman react / rant on that one. And I personally love the idea of Michael Keaton coming back as Batman because, just throwing it out there, I loved the 1989 Tim Burton Batman movie and even the 1992 movie Batman Returns. I know people hate Batman Returns, but I just love that movie. I mean, the atmosphere and the aesthetics, the way the movie works. And of course, Danny Elfman's score was outstanding. I could listen to that soundtrack all day. So I'm, as someone with this nostalgia goggles on, I am really into that idea. And even in my video, I'd even said that quite possibly. And what I would love to see is them use it as a backdoor to, to essentially produce a live action Batman Beyond movie, because I figure if this is something that's real and this is something that they're doing, because logic dictates that with the Flashpoint story, you'd want to use Flashpoint Batman, aka Thomas Wayne, which has already been portrayed in the, DCEU by Jeffrey Dean Morgan. And so, again, it makes more sense to get him to play the role as old man Batman to a degree as Thomas Wayne. But if they're not going to do a true Flashpoint adaptation and they are really persisting on going after Michael Keaton for the role, then I figure there's got to be a creative reason for it. Yeah. And, because Batman Beyond just on it itself is a movie that fans have been clamoring WB to make for years. Batman Beyond, ever since it came out. Yeah, ever since Batman Beyond hit the airwaves with the animated series, we all just fell in love with those characters and stuff like that. They are absolutely amazing show. I loved it. Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, I would even, I'd put it up there as one of the best DC animated films of all time because that is just such a great movie. And, so it makes sense that people would want to see this in live action. And,
I think your audio went out a little bit. I'm not sure what happened. But no, I agree with you. I think that having a Batman Beyond movie is probably one of my top 5 dream comic book movies of all time. I have been clamoring. I even did a video where I fantasy cast this movie because when I heard that they were talking to Michael Keaton, I think I saw another reviewer talk about the fact that Michael Keaton was supposed to be in Crisis and that they just didn't work it out or something like that. So they were going to tie it with.
Yeah, because I did get Robert Wool in there, and on Earth 89, which I thought was a great nod. That was one of the things I thought was awesome. Yeah, I'd heard that maybe Michael Keaton was supposed to be in it, even if only for a brief second, just sort of like a glimpse. But, but ultimately, if not getting him in Crisis means we get him in a Flashpoint movie with a backdoor to a Batman Beyond movie, I'd be all right with that.
I'd be completely down with that now, but will they do it? And see, this is my problem. It's like, I don't know who makes the decisions for DC, for any of the DC really movies, the comic books or anything at this point. But I really think that they should listen to what the fans want, because honestly, a Batman Beyond for me would make the DCEU like literally blow up, because especially if done right. If done right, now if they do it wrong, then yeah, they'll probably lose everyone and we'll never go see another DC movie. But
it's
if done
true.
correctly, that has the potential to do amazing things for them. And I don't know what's holding them up. So I'm hoping that Michael Keaton's cast, if this works out in the Flashpoint movie, that's just a stepping stone. But I do agree that Thomas Wayne being Batman in Flashpoint in the original Batman concept, and then having Martha Wayne be Joker was still a very intriguing storyline. And I'm not saying that wouldn't be cool if that's what they're doing, but I don't think they're going that route. So I don't know.
From what I understand, like, it's not even going to be like, if this Flash movie ever does happen, like, you want to talk another movie that's been in development hell for a long time. I mean, say what you will, at least New Mutants was actually made.
Yeah, it's true.
Will we ever get it? I have no idea. That movie is just that is the definition of a cursed production right there.
Yeah, I don't even know what's going on with Ezra Miller. Like, was there any repercussions from him choking the girl in the video or what?
I personally haven't seen anything come out of that. I think they just chalked that up to basically one big misunderstanding. Everybody was a little drunk, a little tipsy. I mean, that was clear. It looked like, I mean, obviously there's things what it looks like, but at the same time, just the idea of the Flash movie in general is just something that, seemingly just cannot get off the ground. I mean, I've seen Ezra Miller, attached to it saying, oh, we got Grant Morrison helping with the script and this and that. We're going to do Flashpoint, but not really. It's just going to be something that, I really think, a lot of times too is like, if they do get it to work, it's something that WB just wants to kind of correct the ship on their DC extended universe, to kind of push that in a different direction. But of course, I also do wonder, when it comes to the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League, how that's going to impact it, if at all, depending on how fan reception is and stuff like that. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm that type of person where I do not believe I will ever see a Flash movie until I am sitting in the theater, looking at it on the silver screen with a bucket of popcorn and the largest Coke that I could get, with maybe a side of Butterfingers, Nestle Crunch, maybe even some Sour Patch Kids.
Wow. So
diabetic coma. Because again, I mean, you look at something like New Mutants, we've had trailers come out for it. New trailers got cut together for its release and stuff, and it still hasn't happened. I
can't even argue with that, because I have no idea what's going on. I mean, I really thought by now that they were. I didn't think the movie universe or theaters were going to not have another avenue to get their movies out. So everything being delayed like this is interesting. I'm wondering how far it's going to be. I mean, are they going to go to like December? Are they going to go to January? Are we going to wait till 2021? Are we going to have 2022 releases now? Like, I want to know what's going to be pushed, because they're still showing trailers for Wonder Woman right now.
Yeah, I know me personally, I'd rather them just go ahead and just do a video on demand VOD kind of style, sort of like how Bloodshot ended up coming out and stuff like that. Yeah. And and it's still a lucrative way to get the movies out too. Cause I mean, what is it? Trolls World Tour, I think that's some kind of record, when it was released on video on demand and stuff like that. Like, it made a crap ton of money. And to also preface it, that because it wasn't in theaters, all the money went to the people that made it. So, they made an even larger profit margin by doing that. So, I don't know really what the holdup is. I mean, personally, I think at the end of the day, that's where movies are going to end up going anyway, is the video on demand route. Sooner or later, we're going to lose theaters, as much as we don't want to admit it.
But yeah, I just think it's interesting. I'm hoping that we get some clarity on what's being released and what's not, because right now everything's so up in the air, and I really like Morbius I want to see, but New Mutants is probably up there as one of the top ones I want to see this year. So I really want to know when we're going to get New Mutants. I need to know this because it looks very, very good in the trailers. All right, so we're going to look at some of our questions, which are a lot. So let's scroll back up. Let's see where we left off. So we already talked about that you're a wrong person for wanting to get rid of Legends of Tomorrow. You're a bad person, Joe.
Oh, I'm a terrible person.
Terrible person. Let's see. All right, here you go. Do you think they should make a live action Justice League Dark?
Of course.
Yep. I'm like,
there's no question about that. I would love to see them do an R-rated, story with, a movie with script Matt Ryan. It's got to be Matt Ryan as Constantine. It's just he already, he does it in the show. He does it in the animated universe. The guy is Constantine, no doubt.
I don't think he's Matt Ryan. I'm telling you, I think he really is John Constantine. They just don't want to let you know that.
Right? He just stepped out of a portal, came to this earth, and is like, I'm tired of actually being Constantine. I just want to play him. That'd be great. But yeah, a movie with John Constantine, Zatanna, and all them, that's just dripping with so much potential. And I think if done right, that would be box office gold. Even now, Justice League Dark is even a lot of times, even since the New 52, been considered by a lot of comic book readers better than Justice League, the standard Justice League comic book.
I agree with that. Aggressively Relaxing says Black Lightning stays good too. And I agree with that. I don't have a problem with Black Lightning. The only problem I have had with Black Lightning for the last season is Lynn. And it's not really all of her fault because, she got hooked on green light, which was not, it was against her will. And if you've seen the season, then you know what I'm talking about. But it's just, she's been so kind of flaky, wishy-washy with Jefferson. It really bothers me. She's a very strong and brilliant character, but sometimes they write her like she's a damn idiot. So that's the only problem that I have with Black Lightning as a whole is what they're doing to my Lynn. But other than that, yeah, Black Lightning can't go anywhere. I love that show. I think The Flash is an example of milking something way past its potential. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that?
I actually agree to it. That's one of the reasons why, despite it's still getting, I think, some of the highest ratings on the CW network, it's definitely a show that, has gotten weaker over the years. There's definitely always, that sweet spot, like I said, where it's like, they want to come out swinging as hard as they can. So they do the best job they can on that first season most of the time. And then, when it comes to second season, okay, well, we got to try to follow that up. Let's do something good with it. And then from there, the Flash in itself really started to kind of, take a dip in its quality around that third season. I did not like the whole Savitar thing. They botched Flashpoint. Easily the biggest Barry Allen story, and you make it one freaking episode with minimal repercussions at the time. And, that in itself tells me that, okay, they're really trying to go bare minimum here at this point. And
they didn't want to go the whole route. Plus, they couldn't use Batman. Yeah. I know they couldn't do anything. I don't know if Thomas Wayne, Martha Wayne, or all that was actually tied in with the copyright issues that they were having to try and use Batman on television. But
I know when it comes to WB and stuff like that, they rarely like to show a live action Batman on TV. Just because he's such a huge property and stuff like that. I think when it came to even Gotham, for example, they had, I heard they had to fight like hell just for that, couple of minutes that we got of them in that show. But
now we have Bruce Wayne though in the season finale of Batwoman. Not Batman, but we have Bruce Wayne. So I'm thinking it's like the Clark Kent, Superman, Siegel family thing that you can use one but not the other. But yeah, I don't know where they're gonna take Flash from now. There are a lot of Flash stories. Don't get me wrong. There are tons of Flash stories.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just will they adapt them and stuff like that, and will they adapt them well is the biggest thing too. Because I mean, as is, when it came to the previous season, when it came to characters like blood work and stuff like that, I mean, I'd say, especially the first half of the previous season was very heavy with Joshua Williamson material. Yeah. And that's the new stuff, with characters like Godspeed and whatnot, So it's just like, again, it's just like, yeah, they have so much material from like years and years and years ago, but it's like already they're dipping into the new stuff for inspiration, which, isn't necessarily a bad thing, but that also kind of tells me it's like, what are you thinking in terms of the future of the show?
Is there actually a pattern or a direction you're going in? Or are you just randomly throwing things in to see what clicks, which is what I think is actually going on.
It really feels like that too sometimes, and even personally, I would, not just because he's my favorite Flash, but I really feel like, especially when it comes to characters like Wally West, like when he had his run with, Mark Waid and Jeff Johns, and even Grant Morrison, like these were some of the best Flash stories ever told, and this was not a Barry Allen character, and I feel like just in terms of a mantle and stuff like that, it would be perfectly acceptable to even close out the Barry Allen Flash show in favor of a Wally West show, which in my opinion, I think he has the stronger stories.
Yes, he does. He absolutely does. I don't think that's going to happen either, especially since Kalen Lonsdale is not. Is it Kalen or Kylan? I'm going to say Kalen Lonsdale doesn't have really an interest of reprising that role. So I think that anything that they were going to do, which is I think another problem the Flash has suffered, story-wise with him Kalen basically as an actor not wanting to do the series kind of takes Wally out of the equation. So.
Well, for me personally, like if I was directing the show and they were like, how would you bring in Wally West? And I'd be like, oh, well, I was like, well, rebirth. We just rebirth it, because one thing that we know from the Flash, and it's been evident from the first season, we actually have a comic book for this called Season 0, where we know that come the first season, this is already an alternate timeline. Nothing is the same as it was before, because the Flash didn't become, Barry didn't become the Flash till way later in life. And and how I would do it is I would do a rebirth storyline and actually introduce like the original, like ginger redheaded Wally West, and personally give him the show, especially if the previous actor, who played Wally West, I don't remember, like, what was his name?
Kalen Lonsdale. I always say his name wrong, his first name wrong. I know his last name is Lonsdale, but I think it's Kalen Lonsdale.
Yeah, because and like you said, he's not interested.
I love him as Wally. I guess he'd have to have a connection to Wally. I mean, to Iris, if he was still the brother, even though technically he was never the brother in the comic books. But and Iris' story is completely different in the comics too. But again, this is a brand new universe. But yeah, it's just interesting. It's interesting. So yeah, in answer to your question, the Flash is probably 2 seasons ago. 2 seasons ago, worn out their storyline.
I mean, quite honestly, I would have been okay if the second season just let it go. I mean, say what you will about Netflix, and stuff like that, but oftentimes they have a tendency to let shows go off at their high points. So it's like, let's just quietly close it out while it's still good. Because I know we were talking about this earlier and stuff too, shows like Smallville. I personally think Smallville should have ended at season 5. The show obviously went on way too long. It just got worse as it went on. Season 9 was probably. So now
I have to disagree with you because I love Smallville. And honestly, though, I think it should have started at season 9 to the end, because they actually got more comic book writers on board on the later seasons.
Yeah, I was going to say season 9 was probably the saving grace after season 5. But I personally, with the with smaller details, like I like the introduction of characters like Green Arrow and stuff like that.
And they had the JSA, they had the Wonder Twins. I mean, they brought in so many.
That was some season 9 stuff right there. Season 9 was definitely saving grace, but season 10 as a whole was extremely disappointing, especially with the prospect of Darkseid.
How they handled Darkseid, I didn't like. I did not like that at all.
I was not a big fan of season 10
that's going to do with a lot of stuff. But for the overall, and I loved the last season. There were just a lot. We got Zatanna. I mean, there's so many characters that we got in Smallville that we never even got in live action movies. When we had like Superman and Batman, we never got to see these other characters. So Smallville was the vehicle. If there was no Smallville, we would have never had Arrow, and that's the truth. So
yeah, that is undeniable fact for sure. You know,
yeah. So I am a big.
I got the car rolling.
Yeah, I do love Smallville, and I love that they tried to make it interesting in the beginnings. I stuck with it. It's just it was so much Lana drama that it kind of was more like a soap opera for me. It's like instead of him learning who he was too busy fawning over Lana.
Yeah, the only time I found Lana interesting was the Isabel Thoreau storyline from season 4 was the only time, and then from especially from season 6 up, I hated the relationship between her and Lex. You know, one, because it just felt kind of dirty because it's like, you know, he was legal drinking age while she was 14. But
she wasn't 14. She was like 18 or 19 or something. I know she was young when she got cast as Lana. She wasn't.
Oh, I was talking character wise because they were freshmen in high school when they started.
Yeah. But I love Michael Rosenbaum as Lex. He was a very
still the best live action Lex Luthor of all time. You cannot beat that. Like he absolutely nailed it.
Let me see. ATN, you're cheating on me with Constantine. Blasphemy. I say. I'm actually would be cheating on my spouse with Constantine, but I'm not because I'm not with Constantine. He's just very cool. He's a very cool character. Let's see here. I've always found I wouldn't mind a Batman movie dedicated to Batman's sidekicks. I've always found them to be more interesting than Bruce. Okay, I can see that. And there was another one centered in Africa, I think. I think there was an African, wasn't there? Oh my God.
Wait, what was the comment?
There was another one centered in Africa.
A Batman?
Yeah, Batman series. I know that we've had. Why can't I think of his name? We've had a Black Batman.
Well, what is it?
He's in the Bat family, but what was his name? Why is it gone?
Well, wasn't the first Batwing African? Because I don't think Blue Fox was the first Batwing. I think it was Batwing.
I don't remember. I absolutely don't remember. So this is my homework, guys.
Let's not do that. This is a $30 mouse. She's trying to whip it around the room, just smashing it everywhere.
I just don't remember. I'm gonna have to look that up, guys. And if you know, please leave a comment. I cannot remember.
Yeah. Well, you have Serenity.
I cannot remember. Do you remember his name, Serenity? I don't remember his name. I see him in my head. I cannot remember his name.
Well, because I believe it was a very, very quick thing too. Like, it was not very long.
Okay. See, whenever this is how I know I'm old. I don't look my age, but I'm old. I'm like, oh no, I've seen this. I don't remember what it is. But okay, we'll come back to that. I think it's beneficial for the spotlight to be taken off Batman for a while for anything animated or cinematic. We've seen so many permutations of Bruce. I agree, and we're about to get another one because Robert Pattinson is now filming the Batman. So.
But you know, it's Robert Pattinson. Like, say what you will about Twilight, the dude is an accomplished actor, especially in the independent department. Like, I love High Life, Cosmopolis. Actually, Cosmopolis was the movie that made me believe in him as Bruce Wayne for sure. The Lighthouse was really good. I don't know if you've seen The Lighthouse with him and Willem Dafoe. That was a great movie. I do recommend that one for sure.
Okay, I don't think I've ever seen that. The only movie I've seen him in, honestly, is he was Cedric in Harry Potter. I didn't watch Twilight because I didn't like all the blinking. So in the trailer,
and the vampires,
can't handle it emotionally, so I didn't bother with it.
I don't blame you. I got dragged to the first movie in theaters, when it first came out, and I was sitting there like, "What's going on? This is horrible."
Yeah, the trailer made it look like he was stalking, that Robert Pattinson is a vampire character that does not have fangs. So isn't he really like a zombie? But he was stalking like the main girl, and I was just like, all right. So if she's not
watching her sleep,
watching her movie, she's like, he's like in her room. I'm like, what is happening? And I guess she likes it. I don't know. I don't know.
It was definitely like, I think it sent all the wrong signals. Like, I mean, I guess it was meant to be romantic, but at the end of the day, it was extremely creepy.
David Zavimbi, thank you, Serenity.
That's it.
Yes, I love you. Because that was going to be in my brain until I ended this stream and Googled it. I was trying not to do that. Nicholas Yito said you're not old. I am not old, but I will be 44 in December. I have a daughter who will be 24 in September. And my spouse's birthday is Saturday, and my spouse will be 40. So I'm not old, but I'm not young. But I haven't aged. I have no wrinkles because, see, stress keeps you young. And then when I stop stressing, I will be 105. And I will be like those kung fu movies. I'll be like jumping through the trees with long silver hair. It's going to be awesome. But my brain is like 200. So yeah, it's pretty old. I don't know about Robert Pattinson and Batman, to be honest. I'm so tired of Bruce. Everyone's trying to live up to Christian Bale. I don't have a problem with Christian Bale. My Batman's always been Michael Keaton, though. I love Michael Keaton. He had to create he had to go from Adam West to his own version. That's hard. Like Adam West was known as Batman, campy, and it was never nighttime in Gotham. The butler was gardening when he came home with Robin. It's just like that cheesy, Batman. My spouse loves it, by the way. I think it's hilarious. Especially the shark repellent movie on Netflix. If you have not watched the Batman movie on Netflix, it is hilarious with Adam West. But when they had Tim Burton come in, they had to create a darker version of Batman, and they had to have Michael Keaton come in and become Bruce Wayne and Batman, and troubled and not campy. And so he did that first, and that's why I love him so much. So
yeah. That's true. And a lot of people, like, especially today, like to give, that first movie a lot of crap for, oh, this isn't like Batman. Batman doesn't kill and this and that and this and that, much like how Zack Snyder is, who's definitely a little more heavy handed, I thought, with the killing on the Batman part. But, I mean, at the time in 1989, like you said, it was like, it's coming off the heels of the 66 Batman series. And, the hard shift makes sense because they wanted the character to be taken seriously. And of course, then again, you also have Michael Keaton, who wasn't really known for dramatic or serious roles. He was a comedic actor. He was Mr. Mom. That's what everybody was like. It was like, oh my God, Mr. Mom is going to be Batman. So in their mind, people were building up that, oh, this is probably just going to be another live action sort of Adam West style, kind of like what we got with Clooney and the Batman and Robin in '97.
It was campy. Like, even with George Clooney, I actually associated more like a reinvention of Adam West than actually a serious.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely.
And it's probably not fair, but it's just true. I got the same response watching that movie that I did watching the old 60s television show. So,
yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why I can still watch Batman and Robin today, because it's an awful movie. But then again, so is Adam West's show, but it was how campy it was that made it fun.
They're campy and fun. So as long as you don't take it seriously and look for plot, then you'll have a good time. And Arnold Schwarzenegger
and also George Clooney is the only live action Batman who hasn't killed on screen.
True. And he has a bat card. He has a bat. Was it the Bat Gold card?
The bat.
So let's see here. Okay. Didn't they have the African Batman and Batman Beyond? Don't you do this to me, Justin? Don't you do this? Do this.
Well, there was the I can't remember his name, but there was the African character who was sort of like Kraven the Hunter, who was hunting down Terry.
Yeah, but I didn't think it was. I mean, I can't say there wasn't. Honestly, it's been a minute since I've seen all the episodes, so I have to go back.
Yeah,
it's bad because that actually should have been a standout character to me, but I don't remember if there was. I don't want to say that there's not, so I'll have to look into that. But thank you, Justin. Thank you for that. Let's see. She's like, let me talk. I love all the Twilight films and books. So good. I've never read the books. I just couldn't get past the trailer. I just couldn't. And if you love it, hey, I'm you do you. I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong. I just don't understand it. I can't let somebody in my room and be happy about it that doesn't live in my house in the middle of the night. Plus, I live in Memphis, Tennessee. You'll get shot for that. So I'm like, you don't do that.
I will be right back. I got a diaper duty.
Oh, that's fine. I can keep talking. All right, let's see here. I honestly hated Damien for how he was, and I'm now. I sort of tolerate him, but still borderline hate him. For Damien, yeah. I mean, comic book characters are all like, comic book and animated series characters are all complex. They will do things that will drive you insane. Like, honestly, with me, I have a love-hate relationship with Batman because Batman, he gets mad at other people for stuff that he does himself. Like I remember when I want to say it was Hal Jordan. He like snapped and was like just killing people and like all over his town, and then like Batman was like, that was irresponsible, and, he's like, I understand your villain triggered you, but you should have taken care of your business, blah blah blah. And I'm like, but you let a clown literally escape from Arkham like every other week and kill people, including a 5-year-old on a television show. There's an issue where there's a family on a talk show, and Joker just like walks out, kills the parent, and slits the 5-year-old's throat on TV. And so for me, it's just kind of hypocritical. So I always look at comic book characters as they really are dependent on who writes for them. They can have amazing storylines where you think they're the coolest person in the world, and then they can have another writer that just makes them complete garbage. So, I get it though. I get it. Your daughter is the same age as me. Awesome. She will be 24 in September. Let's see. Scrolling down. Stress makes you old. No. For me, stress makes me young. The way my body works is until I get my stuff together, my body's decided not to do anything. We're just going to stop right here in time. And then the moment that I'm like, I'm stress free, I'm going to literally I'm going to have like a huge, like long mustache, and I'm going to have like the long silver hair, and I'm going to fly through trees. That's what's going to happen. All right. Stress and sun. I get plenty of both. Yeah, sun will do it. I wear lots of sunblock. I do. I'm half Scottish, so I have to. I burn very easily outside. My father's father is a full Apache, and then his mother was black, and my father looks completely black. He does not burn at all in the sun. My daughter is part Vietnamese, part Chinese, and she has darker skin than me, and she doesn't burn. My spouse is Korean American, a little bit darker than me, does not burn. I'm the only one in this house that if I literally sit on our balcony, I will have like blisters. It's absolutely ridiculous. Let's see here. When I see Michael Keaton, I see the Vulture. See, that's the difference in our ages, because I first saw Michael Keaton in, well, a lot of movies actually, but Batman as a superhero was Batman. So he was my very first Batman outside of the reruns I used to watch of the Adam West version of Batman, which were very, very campy. Like for me, I think Batman came on after I Dream of Jeannie. So it was like in that like late night TV like era. But I get it. He's a good Vulture. Michael Keaton's a great actor. I mean, I think he even has a small part in the Morbius movie in Marvel. So, I mean, he's versatile, but he is an amazing Batman. I love him as Batman and Bruce Wayne. Christian Bale's Batman killed Ra's in Batman Begins. Yeah. So Ra's al Ghul did get killed by him in Batman Begins. And I think we got Talia. Was it Talia in the end of the I think that's who we had. It's been a minute. I know we had Bane. I think Talia was who we had in the finale. So yeah, that was a pretty good run. I didn't mind the Christian Bale like movies. I didn't mind. I did think he hurt his voice a lot by doing that voice. Cause I mean, I know they make fun of it, but as a voice actor, it is very painful to have to do a gruff voice like that all the time. So I literally saw that for what it was, and that is pain. So I have mad respect for being able to do that voice. He had to do an American accent and this like smokers, like chain smoker voice a lot. So that was a little rough. A Batman movie with Tim Drake tutoring Terry would be kind of awesome. I agree. Heck, any Batman Beyond movie would be kind of awesome. I mean, it's almost like they have a warning to studios to not do this. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
I mean, at this point, I would even almost take the time that Tim Drake was Batman Beyond at this point.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. A Tim Drake one would be cool. I mean, it's been such a long time since the cartoon ended. It's just crazy that we have not had a live action version of this movie, of this property. It's crazy. Let's see here. Sorry, every time I stick on one, it starts scrolling up again. I apologize. The Batman Beyond movie had a dark story for Tim. I feel like the Batman Beyond comic did him more justice as Terry's replacement for Batman. I agree with that. But comic books have more time, and they're able to get a lot more story in than a live action or a cartoon. Because cartoon scripts and movie scripts have to go through like purgatory to get approval. And comics aren't. I mean, I'm sure they have like a panel, but they basically could do a lot of what they want. At least more in comics than they do in media. But let's see here. I believe it was in the movie. Okay. I'll have to look at that, Justin. I'm sure there was an African Batman. I just don't remember him in Batman Beyond. It could have been David. Who knows? But I'll have to go back and look at that. That is on my list now. I have to figure that out because that's going to bother me. If anything, I sort of lost love and respect for most of the Bat fam, especially Alfred, Dick Grayson, even Barbara, ever since the whole Bruce was dead, but was lost in time, and the birth of Red Robin. Yeah, there's been a lot of interesting storylines. A lot of people didn't like the last run of Batman, where what was it? What was it? Banestown or Baines? What was it?
Oh, City of Bane.
City of Bane. Thank you. A lot of people were like, that's not Batman. Batman's not that weak. And I was like, I will say that issue where him and Catwoman or Selena were like literally it looked like they were on a reality show on an island.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, a lot of people are kind of like, I don't think Bruce would be chilling on a beach while Bane's terrorizing the city.
Parasailing and sailing and then scuba diving.
Like, oh, we're just having a good old time, meanwhile Bane and Gotham. What's going on?
But I'll tell you, I love Alfred. Alfred is my man, especially if you have not read Deceased. It will make you love Alfred, because that issue with Alfred was badass. He was in Batman Bad Blood. Okay, I'm gonna put that on my list. I am going to figure this out. I'm gonna figure out who this Batman is.
Wait, Bad Blood?
Bad Blood. Yeah, I don't remember it. I don't know why. I just don't.
Well, I mean, Batwoman was on the Bat Family. It was Batwoman, Luke Fox, obviously Damian, Nightwing. Yeah, I mean, you had the Heretic, but that was just an aged up Damian Wayne clone.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to have to go back and watch it because I don't remember. I have no problem doing that, though, because I love the movie, so it doesn't matter. Okay. Here we go. I mean, we could have a show on Huntress Helena Bernatelli. I mean, seriously, it would be similar to Marvel's Punisher, but more methodical, yet rooted in cynicism. Then that could work to a Birds of Prey. I think that's cool. I like Birds of Prey, but I think that there are missed opportunities in that movie. It's
like character development.
Yeah, character development rise. I think that it's hard. It's very hard. Like I know what they were trying to do. I know that they were making this sisterhood, and they're actually forming, because they were not the Birds of Prey to the very end of that movie. I really hope that everyone saw that movie.
Well, I think it's also to note that much like Suicide Squad, the cut we got was not the intended cut that was originally created.
She did say they had to edit for time. They had to edit out a lot of character development. So maybe I didn't get the Blu-ray. Did you buy the Blu-ray? I don't know if there's anything extra that kind of onto this.
No, I ended up skipping out on the Blu-ray and digital too, just because I personally didn't care for the movie enough to buy it. I always say it's worth a view and to kind of form your own opinion on it. But for me personally, the movie was just a little too weak for me to want to get it.
Yeah, I loved the effects. I love the fight choreography was very good, especially the prison. And there's another scene, I can't remember where they were, but they had really not the big fight. There's another fight that Harley had that I thought was really well done. Camera angles were so cinematography wise, choreography wise, effects wise, this was a very good movie. There's just certain story elements and character development that just kind of missed it. But
yeah, well, for me personally, especially when it comes to Cassandra Cain, that was utter betrayal of character right there.
Well, I'm a Lady Shiva fan, so I feel your pain. Didn't get daughter that correctly to me either, but
yeah. I mean, if that was Lady Shiva's daughter, I kind of feel like Lady Shiva would have just killed her herself.
Yeah. Huh. They should do a Lady Shiva movie. That's another one that should be done. I'm throwing that into the cosmos. I want my Lady Shiva, and I want an accurate Lady Shiva.
I would love a Lady Shiva movie, especially I feel like they kind of owe her now after that last Justice League Dark, which I still like that movie, but they did her dirty.
Yeah, there are definitely irritating elements of that movie. I didn't hate it. I actually liked it a lot when I first saw it. Then I went back and watched it again, and I was like, oh, but this is weird, and this is weird. But Lady Shiva does not go down like that. I'm sorry. That was
yeah. I felt like they did her dirty in that movie. I was just like, come on, man.
I call BS on that. Let's see. I first saw Michael Keaton in Batman 2. Cool, but his Vulture just had a real impression on me. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm like I said, if actors will click with you based on certain movies. So I get it. I get that completely.
Yeah. Also, what is it with Michael Keaton and his affinity for playing roles with characters with wings? He's been Batman twice. He's been Birdman and the Vulture.
He likes animals or birds.
Yeah.
He couldn't have one as a child, so he's living out his childhood. Leave Michael alone.
I shall become a bat.
Maria, are you familiar with Aaliyah Bell from Spider-Man 29? She had a single one shot, but she's the first Black POC Venom over. No, I haven't. I have not seen Aaliyah Bell, but you just put her on my radar. Just curious, since you're covering female POC heroes. Yeah, I will definitely be checking her out. So let me actually put her in my notes. Thank you for that, Aaliyah Bell. Yeah, I've got 4 others coming. My next one actually is Chinese, so I'm trying to give props to all the lesser known characters. All right, let's see. Maria, speaking of Batman Beyond, do you think we're going to get Damian as the demon's head, since Terry is going to be Batman and Maxine will be Oracle adjacent in this universe? Huh. I don't know. That would be cool. I don't know what they're going to do with Damian. Because that's the thing. You never know what characters get eliminated from, especially when they do live action movies. I mean, it's the sad truth. You never know until you go. It's like when I watched Spider-Man for the first time and they showed the girl next door, Mary Jane Watson. But everyone knows that the first girl ever featured in Spider-Man was Liz. And he did his best not to meet Mary Jane Watson. Yeah. Because he was like his Aunt May was trying to set him up with her, and she's like, she's totally a dog, so I'm not gonna go meet her, So it was Liz. Then he had a crush on Betty Brown, and he had twins. He met Mary Jane while he was having this on again, off again thing with Gwen. So when you look at it from that perspective, in this movie, and a comic book lover actually showrunned this movie along with Spider-Man 1. You can't always do what you want. You have to do what people think are going to be popular. So they pretty much switched Mary Jane and Gwen Stacy's characters in the original Spider-Man movie. So yeah. And just eliminated Liz altogether, which is so stupid. All right, let's see here. I'm hoping to see Duke Thomas, the Signal, or should I say Lark, in some iteration on Black Lightning versus the Outsiders. Probably will. I think they're actually on top of it. I think we're going to get a lot of Outsiders in Black Lightning. I love what they did with last season. I really did. The fact that they had Wayne Brady in it, I was very impressed with that. I'm a big Whose Line Is It fan too, and Wayne Brady. He was cool. Let's be real. The Cassandra Cain would have been dead the first night in Birds of Prey movie, along with Helena, Renee, Harley, and probably if Dinah fighting skills were up to snuff. Depends on what iteration of Cassandra Cain you're talking about.
If you're talking about the movie version, then yes.
Yeah, the movie version would die. Comic version, no.
Comic version would kill half of everybody first.
Yeah. She is her mother and father's child. Respect.
Yes, absolutely. But it's somebody's lunchtime, so I need to get going.
Oh, no, it's fine. We're about to end our broadcast now. I'm going to do one more question, and then we are good to go. On the subject of Aaliyah Bell, I think she was supposed to be the new interpretation of Venom 2099. I'm hoping Marvel intended to give her own series, since Venom as a franchise is doing well. I'm going to look into that. That's going to be my next one, guys. I promise you that I'm going to be popping out some more of our who are pretty much spotlight videos on comic characters, because there are so many out there that are not, you know, pretty much well known. And yes, I do see your one about Bumblebee. Bumblebee's already on my list. So is Vixen, and so is Nubia. So no worries. No worries. Yeah, I really love that you guys were tuning in. And my two co-hosts here.
Yeah, sorry about that, everybody, but
It's fine.
she's just so excitable.
Kids come first. She just wanted to be part of the show. So, you know, we love children. But yeah, so I'll be doing another live stream on Friday. So I'll let you know what that one is about. And I'll be doing my Stargirl review probably tomorrow is my spouse's birthday. So it'll be Sunday. I'm going to be a little late on that. But yeah, I hope you guys have a very good day. Thank you for tuning in with me. And we love you. This was amazingly fun. It always is. Have a great weekend. And thank you for approaching the nerd. And make sure to check out Joe's YouTube channel. He does amazing comic reviews. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thanks for having me on.